Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today we are reviewing Pairing Up, Wild Cards number 31. Chapter 1 is about Treaty of the Apes, Magpie by Kevin Andrew Murphy. And this is a good old classic magpie stealing romp in Mexico, but there's nothing really more to say about it. I was really hoping this book would progress the moon plot, but that doesn't seem to be happening. And all the monkey stuff is funny, the snakes, Golden Boy, I love it, classic wild cards, but I want plot development for the moon. I found the second chapter about Theodorus and Peregrine quite pointless. I can't warm to Theodorus, he is too nice and I cannot trust anybody who is too nice. Especially in the wild cards universe, look at Puppet Man, but Peregrine, this seemed like they wanted some more backstory for her, cutting her wings off and them growing back. I don't care. She's so one-dimensional. Chapter 3 is a mob boss Cam story, which is completely pointless and adds nothing to the moon plot. Bring back the moon. But I did like the crossover between Can and Mariam and the Silver Helix dynamic going on there. I want more Silver Helix in the next books as well. Just putting that out there. Hope it happens. But apart from that, this chapter also bored me. The fourth chapter, even though it was written by Melinda M. Snodgrass, was really dull. Dull as dishwater, actually. I know I've skipped over a few books in the middle of this series, but I normally find it easy to connect with the characters. This time, it just didn't happen. The fifth chapter in this series was a bit better. It felt more wildcardy, with all the espionage going on, and the Scorpion wildcard was pretty cool, though I do feel the need to point out Mexican Spanish is not the same as normal Spanish, and I had to look up the word. I'm glad Bubbles wasn't really in this chapter, though he was mentioned far too much. I don't like Bubbles, I've mentioned this before. I do like her brother though, he seems quite nice and nerdy, though I haven't seen him appear in any of their books yet. But the secret half-brother thing is a trope that is so overdone. Then we have chapter 6, the Mr. Nobody chapter, and I normally love Mr. Nobody, but I felt like this chapter should have been in Low Chicago and they didn't have room for it, so they stuffed it here instead. It's actually a pretty good chapter, very well-rounded, great characters and places, but I feel like it's in the wrong book. It stuck out to me like a sore thumb. Like someone had an extra essay they just wanted to stuff in to get the grade. Then I got bored halfway through the next chapter and put the book down. This Wildcards book is just not hooking me at all. I did like Hero McHeroface and Stella. They were cute together, but I figured out Pygmalion was the stalker from the beginning, so I had no incentive to keep reading the chapter, because I knew what was going to happen. Normally, one thing I really love about Wildcards books is I can never guess what's going to happen, but this book just isn't doing it for some reason. The super obvious plotline thread continues in Batcho's story. I knew Lulu was a puppet man immediately. It was so obvious and a bit repetitive. Couldn't the writers think of some new material? Batcho is a great character though. I can see them having a lot of fun with him, but I didn't like the fact he hooked up with Adesina, because I don't like Adesina and I don't like Bubbles. And then Bubbles gets involved again, twice in one book. Way too much for me because I can't stand her. She's definitely not my favourite character, and this is definitely not my favourite Wildcards book. I think they should have made Batcho a more standalone character. His wildcard power is very strong and he didn't need to piggyback off a more relatable character, in my opinion. He could have stood alone and then later on fed into somebody else's narrative, but we should have established him as a standalone character. That is my opinion, but we're not getting very many strong characters now coming out. It seems to be older characters just coming back at this point. I give this book 4 out of 10 at best. I really hope the next offering in the Wildcard series continues longer plot threads. This book just seemed like a collection of short stories. They didn't have time to fit into the other books, and this was just pushed out because they had it spare. I don't know what people were thinking. I like plot development, I like character development. That's one thing that keeps bringing me back to the Wildcard series, is their characters are always so unique and so grounded in their personalities, but this book just wasn't doing it. Loose, unconjoined, floating around in space with all the random characters, not for me. But if you like this video, be sure to check out my Wildcards playlist. I've reviewed multiple books. I have also got a playlist where I compare Wildcard characters to Game of Thrones characters. That's quite popular. Until next time, like, comment, and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lady Jessica Riddell. I hope your card doesn't turn. Bye!